Hello. So I recently sat for Goethe B2 exams in Goethe Institut, Nigeria in Lagos. And I just want to give a review of my experience for anybody who would want to sit for the exams in the coming weeks or coming months. Okay. So I'm going to start with the registration process. Okay. So if you go to the website of Goethe online, if you don't have anybody to register, you can register yourself. So the registration, you put your details and all on the date of the registration. So on they have particular days when you can register for the exams. Okay, so when that day comes, I think by 9 a.m. you'd already be on the website. Sometimes the website will be telling you that the traffic is too much, so you need to keep refreshing the page until you are able to register. Okay, so after the registration, they'll send you email details and the things that you need for the exam. Now, to the exam preparation proper, like what do you need apart from the preparing for the exam that you will write? There are certain things that you need to do. One of them is book an accommodation. Be sure of where you are going to stay, especially if you do not live in Lagos. I came from Port Harcourt to I came from Port Harcourt to Lagos, and I did not reserve any accommodation. On that day when I got there, there was no place for me to stay. At least that was within my budget. Okay. So make sure that you reserve an accommodation before you go there, else you will find yourself stranded. Okay. So there are some hotels that you can use to book before you arrive. Okay. I think the one that is very close that I used is Lagos Resource Center. Okay, and the price is fair, including the food and everything. The price is there for them is fair. Okay. Um, what are the things you need for the exam? You need your pen and your international passport and a passport photograph with a white background. So if you don't have your international passport, I'm not sure you can sit for Goethe exams. So try and make your international passport before you even try to register for the exams. Okay. So you need that international passport as a means of identification, and you also need a passport photograph that has a white background. Then you come with your pen. Now, what are the things that were not allowed in the exam? No jewelry of any kind. These things, no jewelry, earrings, bracelets, wristwatches, no jewelry. In fact, my hair packer, the one I still have on my hair right now, I was asked to take it out before I sat for the exam. So if on that day of the exam, don't even bother dressing up. Don't bother coming with anything. Just come with that um your passport and your pen that you need to write. Now, for the exam proper, what was my experience? I sat for sprechen and rather I sat for horen and lesen. I'll later sit for schreiben and sprechen in November. Okay, it was fair. Okay, the exams were fair. The sprechen at first people used to say that sometimes sprechen you don't hear well, but I think everybody in that room where I sat heard what was being played from the speaker because it was very, very, very loud. Okay, so it was loud enough. The time, well, it will just depend on how you have been practicing with their materials, like with different materials that you have been practicing with. Okay, if you are already conversant with the speed of each of the parts, it may not affect you so much. So they have practice materials on their website. You can just go practice, and just practice, and it will help you get conversant with the speed. The lesson too was pretty easy. Okay, personally there were some parts for me that I always struggled with, like the parts of the listen where there's an interview and then maybe two or three other people. That part is usually tougher for me. So when I wrote, I started with that part because I knew that was the hardest part for me. So those interviews were my hardest part. So, oh, I'm talking about expression. That was the part that was hard for me. And so that part I really, 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 really like. If it was for me to go and put my ear on the speaker, I would have done that. But for the lesson, I started with the part where they have many people giving their opinions, because I know that part too is usually very tricky. So I started with that. So the exams are pretty fair if you have studied enough. But one thing with exam is results that show you whether your preparation was adequate or not. Okay. So um what else? Okay, that was my general experience in the with the exam. It was exciting. I got to meet people from other countries like Benin that did not speak English. So it was only German you could actually use to communicate with those people. So if you could not speak German or French, they will not understand you. So of course, if you're coming for the German exam, it means you have learned German. So you don't expect the instructions to be in English. When they ask you to line up, when they ask you to come and do anything, all the instructions for the exams are purely in German. So if you notice that your German is not good, don't even bother coming, because they're going to ask you questions. Like when you're talking to the invigilators, it's going to be in German. Any question they ask you, they expect you to respond with German. Okay. Me, I goofed in one part, but overall, I think like I had a fair communication with the invigilator. So just get yourself prepared. Make sure you have your international passport, your passport photograph, and make sure that you book where to stay before coming, else you're gonna be stranded. And another thing I forgot to add, please, that 1 hour before the exam time that they say you should come down 1 hour before that time. Because if you come later, ah, I did not even come too late. I came like 15 minutes late. Hey, my heart was beating when they told me to stand aside. When I went to meet the invigilator, I was trying to explain. She said, "That is kind of house ready. That is not an excuse." My mind was with I said, my registration money, my flight money, my accommodation money, all this money I've spent. That was what was flashing before my face when she asked me to stand aside. But I was just praying in my heart, but she finally allowed me to enter. But you may not be that lucky if they tell you come 1 hour before the time. See, if you have to leave your house 4 hours earlier, just do it and just take your exams and go. So if you want to write the exams in the future, I wish you good luck. My results are not out, of course. When my results come out, I will be here to share the results with you. So, if you are interested in my language journey generally or my German journey, like and subscribe to this page. And feel Glück if you are also writing the B2 German exams in Goethe Institute, wherever in the world you are. Yeah. Auf Wiedersehen.